When talking about issues like food insecurity or homelessness, the question, what can I do, is often posed. Stanton-based photographer Kate Simon's answer was art. In partnership with the Community Foundation of the Central Blue Ridge, Simon embarked on her series, This Is Home, photographing those in our communities who are the most vulnerable. Eviction notices and signed leases.
I don't know what's going on, but I really feel drawn to this issue, and I feel like I have to do something. I don't know what that is. I don't have a lot of tools, I have imagery. That's what I've got.
On September 19th, 2022, Simon photographed the first part of the series. She was there the day funding expired to keep unhoused people in hotels during the pandemic. Some photos capture those moments, those life-changing, heart-wrenching moments.
It's happening here, right here in our backyard. It's not some other big city. It's happening here. And, we spend so much time focusing on the individual. And I think we're missing the point. We're missing the fact that these are systemic issues and that it can happen to anyone.
But a lot of This Is Home is about triumph. Simon fondly shares Jalil's story.
He committed a felony when he was young. I think he was 19. And when he went to prison, he decided that he was going to turn it all around. Like, he is just the epitome of hope, right? And so when you commit a felony, it follows you. And he has a wonderful wife who was a great support to him. He spent so much time trying to find somebody that would rent to them. Nobody would rent to them, and they spent a lot of time in a motel. And when you do that and you pay daily, it ends up being something like $80 a day. And who could afford $80 a day to live? And so they lived in a home that a friend or somebody that they knew was renting to them, and I think something happened where they, during the life of the time that they lived in that home, the landlords saved the money that they paid in rent and gave it back to them when they moved out, and they were finally approved for an apartment. And so we walk into this photo shoot, and this whole wall was covered with family photos. And it says, "Our nest is blessed." And they just have such tremendous gratitude for this one bedroom, or I think it's 2-bedroom apartment, because they have 4 kids. But just like the look of pride, like on his face, he's like, I did it. Here I am. I'm standing in my apartment with my family photos and my kids, and we're safe. And, so I love his story because, I'm sure there are a lot of reasons that he ended up committing the felony that he did. So many systemic issues wrapped up in all of this, right? But like, to take that and to say, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna struggle and go through the really hard times in order to make it better for my family.
And stories of breaking generational disadvantage.
This is a woman. She was a single mom. Her daughter was 3, and she was weeks away from having her second baby. And she told us the story of her mother. She grew up in a shelter with her mother, and she said, it's not going to be me. I'm never gonna. I'm not going to do that to my kids. And through some circumstances that were not within her control at all, she ended up in a warm shelter with her kids. But this is, one of those success stories, because this photo shoot happened the day before she got the key to her new apartment.
Sometimes the photos pose big questions.
This is Rick, and he works at the Valley Mission shelter. And we went here one day. Chris and I just kind of walked around with him, and he showed us all of the beds and all of the facilities that they have at the Valley Mission. And it was overwhelming, because this is the men's dorm, and we were walking around, and I noticed that every single bed was full. They're all full. And so you can see, little, belongings. Everybody has to put all of their things up on their bed, and you notice you go into the kids' dorm, the women and children dorm, and everything they own is on this single mattress. All of the toys, all of their everything they own is just, that's it. The work that the Valley Mission does is incredible. If they don't have room, they will let people sleep on the stairs. They will, try to get people warm and feed them. They stretch those meals so thin. And Chris goes once a week to serve lunch there, and so that was part of what we did when we went to go visit on this day. But even they have guidelines, and so, if you have a severe mental illness, if you have a history of violence, and, there are a lot of people that are not allowed to stay, and for the safety of the people that are staying there. And so a few stories that we've done since then is, okay, so what do we do in the shorter term for these people that are not allowed to go here? Where do they go?
To learn more about the Community Foundation of the Central Blue Ridge or This Is Home, visit cfcbr.org. Working hard for you, Kayla Brooks, WHSV.